All right, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. We are live, I think. Let me just make sure. Yes, we are live. Welcome, everybody. We're going to be doing just a little bit of severe weather coverage today. I don't really think it's going to be a very long day, but we do have a brief moment here with these storms that are currently located in Texas, eventually going to be moving into southwestern Oklahoma. Have a little bit of a chance here for some severe weather. As you guys can see, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning ongoing with this storm over here near Childress. Hey, Tornado Explorer, welcome, welcome. So if you live in Childress, be watching out. A little bit of 60-mile-per-hour winds and some half-dollar-sized hail is possible as this pushes off to the north and east. So if you live in Childress, just make sure you are indoors and away from windows. As you can see, we have a Storm Runner Media out here. I think he's in the core of the storm. Let's listen in really quick. Potentially a little bit of hail in there. Let me know if you guys hear any doubling of the audio. I guess you could call this the first live stream, severe weather season live stream of the season, kicking it off potentially with a little bit of a cold core severe weather scenario here with the potential for some tornadoes. Hello, 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 welcome. Sounds great, awesome. Cool, I think I fixed that problem. They're saying there might be some hail in here. I am trying to see if I can get this audio up any louder. I don't know why it's so quiet. I'm gonna have to figure out why that audio is a little bit on the quiet side. We'll figure that out some other time. But yeah, as you can see, it is currently raining underneath this storm in Childress, Texas. That is what we've got going on right now. And that is this storm right here. And kind of what we're looking at here, if we come over here to our SPC meso analysis, we're watching out for some instability to build in. So far, we haven't really seen that really take too much of a place. We have about 500 joules per kilogram out there around where this storm is. A little bit of capping building in and around these storms. Is that going to lower these storms' abilities to produce tornadoes? It might, but one of the things that these storms have going in their favor is a lot of vorticity around them. And another thing that we're looking out for is for some 3K to build up in this area. And we're not really seeing that build up in just yet. But over the next hour, that should happen. That should happen. And so these storms will start off maybe struggling a little bit, but as we move throughout the day, there is certainly a possibility for some tornadoes. As you guys can see, we do have some lower level shear over here near Childress, Texas, about 35 knots. Not the strongest shear we've seen this season, but enough to support some tornadic activity. And same over here, we were talking about 40 to 50 knots of upper level shear right above these storms. So the shear environment's there. There's a little bit of spin. In terms of our dew points out where these storms are, around 50 to 51, which is what we're looking for. And if we come up back over to the upper level winds and then look at our temperatures, you can see that we have negative 18 to negative 19 degrees Celsius right above these storms in the 500 millibar area, which is kind of what you need for a cold core system. The what was I going to do? Oh, yeah. The dew points, typically we look for 60 dew points, but in this scenario, if you have those cold of temperatures aloft and a low surface low located in a pretty specific area, you can get those upper level temperatures to really drop. And even though the dew points are relatively low, you can still easily get some severe weather and the potential for some tornadoes, especially with the sheer environment that is out here right now. So if you live in Childress, I would certainly be indoors and away from windows. We do have some reports of hail coming out of our spotters out here. So again, if you live in Childress, just be indoors and away from windows, and you should be fine from this storm. If we come over here to our velocities, you can see that we do have some areas of rotation in and around some of these storms. It's not very strong rotation just yet, but these storms are trying to mature. And if we come over here to the echo tops, we're not going to be really talking about those 60,000-foot cloud tops that we would typically see in a tornado outbreak. I'm not tornado outbreak, but a tornado type storm. Sorry. We're going to be seeing more low top supercells today. So a little bit smaller storms, but still with that potential to produce tornadoes. That's pretty much what we're going to be doing today. I don't think it's going to be a super long stream. The tornadic environment's only going to be sticking around here for the next 2 hours or so. So it's going to be a pretty quick hitting event. Also watching this storm a little bit further to the south and east of Paducah. As you can see, definitely starting to see those increased DBZs on this storm down here. A little bit of rotation on this guy as well. So we're going to have to keep our eye on this storm to see if it's going to do anything or not. Hello. Welcome, you guys. Welcome to the stream. Early and quick event. Yeah, pretty much. It's not going to be very long lived, just given the fact that that little balance that you get. Well, let's bring up the severe weather outlook. That also kind of gives us an indication of the brevity of this storm. A very small 5% risk exists here. And as you can see, these storms are just about to move into that area. We're talking like areas like Vernon, Altus, and Elk City that are going to be in the threat for some of this for this tornado threat. Also, we have a damaging wind threat of around 15% and a 15% chance for some large hail as well with this. So pretty small area. These storms are going to be moving pretty quickly. We're talking about anywhere from 30 to 40 miles per hour. This one's moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So as you can tell, these things are just going to kind of zip through that tornado environment pretty quickly. And if one of these storms is going to produce a tornado, it's going to do so most likely within the hour here. So if you guys live in Quanah, Vernon, Altus, Magnum, Childress, just make sure that you are weather aware. I'm pretty sure we don't have a watch yet. Let me just double check to see if we have any changes on that. No, we don't have a watch, but we do have a 40% chance of a watch to potentially come out into this area. You can see we got a little bit of a warm front out over here. Any storm that can kind of fire and then latch onto that warm front are going to be the ones we're worried about for that tornado threat. Winds between 55 and 70 miles per hour are possible, and a tornado with the intensity of 85 miles per hour to 115 miles per hour is possible. 1 inch to golf ball sized hail is also going to be possible as well. So definitely an interesting environment. We've been watching this little low pressure system for a while, and it really didn't seem like it was going to do it. Oh, look at this on Storm Runner Media's view. Hey, thank you, Sherry, for the 50, and also huge shout out to Sherry as well. A couple days ago, she donated, I think it was $50 on Venmo. So thank you so much for your support. If you guys don't know, Sherry Scales is. Oh, hold on. That looks like a funnel.
Go chat.
It looks like we have a funnel here near Childress, Texas. Yeah, hopefully we can get in a little bit of a zoomed-in view.
There was a lowering there, opened up where you could visualize it, and
yeah, watch the ground for.
I think it just happened to line up with like a little bit of a rain shaft right there, but it looked like a weak little land spout or something for just a second. When it first cleared out, you could see the base of that wall cloud.
Very interesting. It looks like a funnel.
We got a special weather statement.
Somebody is saying it could be that might have produced a land spout here just a moment ago.
Right towards...
It's kind of hard to tell, though.
I think they got that lined up wrong, personally. They definitely do.
Seems to be dissipating. It's hard to tell if it's scud or a funnel. There definitely seems to be some spin in that area. Again, this is a storm that's moving through Childress right now. You don't need to be in your safe spots just yet, but as you can see that this storm does have some capability here to at least spin. It kind of looks like this thing is trying to produce a funnel. Another one seems to be reaching down there, but it's hard to tell whether or not. I mean, it looks smooth.
I only got another minute with it, though. We got
has my attention the most, I believe, is the one you're
it's pretty
on
scuddy
right now. DL, it's kind of in between. It's the northernmost of that, like, kind of area of convection.
I don't think that's anything significant. Yeah, it's hard to tell. We're keeping an eye on it. It kind of looks like a wall cloud. Somebody said that they might have seen a land spout earlier. So definitely want to keep an eye on that area of the storm. Also, we have Paigey Tornado, who is getting out in front of this storm. So we will also have her view of the storm as well as she gets closer to this storm. She's a little bit out in front of it. I think she's trying to catch back up to it on a little bit more of an accessible road here. Yeah, very interesting looking thing coming down from that storm. And again, they are over here near Childress, Texas, where we have a couple of areas of rotation. I'm not sure if he's looking at the southern one or the northern one, but both of these areas do have a little bit of rotation aloft. And that is coming pretty close to Childress. Again, if you live in Childress, Texas, you don't necessarily need to be in your safe spot just yet, but just be ready to go just in case this thing does try to drop, a quick tornado. John is also live. Oh, really? And it's been a while since he's been live. It has been a minute. Oh, yeah, he is live. Fortunately, I do not know where he is, and I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've used him as a storm chaser, so I am not sure if I can still use his stream. So if you could get some confirmation on that for me, Blondie, that would be really helpful. Good afternoon. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. We're watching out for some tornadoes here. Going into kind of so if we zoom out here to kind of get an understanding, we got a really small area, really, where the tornadoes are possible here. Pretty much right in this region. So it's going to be a pretty brief threat, but there's definitely some potential there. Also, looking at this cell further down to the south, it looks like it's getting a little bit more bean-shaped, but it's not really picking up any rotation with that one just yet. Yeah, as I was saying before we got interrupted, was that Sherry Scales, the person who just donated $50 whole dollars, which again, huge thank you to you for that, is actually DL Scales' mom, who DL Scales is Storm Runner Media. He's out there without Garrett right now, so he's kind of chasing all by himself, which is it'll be interesting to see how he holds up without Garrett. Should do fine. He knows his stuff. What comes first, the bean or the rotation? Always the bean. Very, very little times do you actually see like rotation before, before the bean. It's usually always the bean that comes first. Because the bean shape is kind of like a representative of what the atmosphere is, right? So you have your updraft that is probably most likely located in this area of the storm. Let me change my pen color here. So you get the updraft over there in that portion of the storm, and then that rain goes up into the atmosphere. And then in the lower levels, it kind of is allowed to rise up. And then once it hits those mid levels to upper level winds, it starts to move in this way. And so it's kind of like its own little hodograph. And that's how you get the bean shape. And typically, the storm, as it builds in height, you'll usually see a bean shape before the rotation. Is the new chaser bill in effect yet? No. I don't even think they've passed it. And I think the latest information on that is that if they do pass it, it's going to be going into effect in November. So all chasers should be good to go there. But I'm not really sure too much information. As much as I've heard about it, it seems like some sort of license for storm chasers. I'm not really sure what's up with that. Bean grows into a twisty vine of destruction. Hopefully not today, or tomorrow, or the next day. We got multiple days here of severe weather possibilities. A bit ago, it was raining with some lightning and thunder here in Amarillo. Yeah. Do I like Tyler Kurtz? Yeah, I love Tyler. Tyler's a good dude. I've actually met him in person. We went and interviewed people in Andover about what they experienced when that EF3 tornado went through that area a couple years back. That's where I actually met him. So yeah, we're good friends. I like Tyler. Yeah, latest here on the velocities, decent area of rotation here south of Childress. That does seem to be getting pretty close here to being try to potentially produce a tornado. If we come over here to our storm relative velocities here, you can see we have greens touching the reds pretty well there south of Childress. That's going to be coming pretty close to Kirkland. So watch out there in Kirkland. That storm is certainly trying to get its act together. Now, let me see where our... Oh, we just got our latest scan here. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a broad area, maybe a little bit of a tighter circulation there just to the south of Childress. And thank you, Michael, for the $2. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks, man. Thank you. Does seem like that hail core is looking pretty intense there south of Childress, which is pretty common when you get some of these cold core type events. Let's go look at the vertically integrated liquid. Not fully maxed out on that just yet, but we haven't had our latest scan. Wonder if that'll get fully maxed out by the next scan. Let's go check back in with Storm Runner. Oh, there's DL, if you guys don't know. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like he's looking at the same storms we are. Not really sure what his plan is. He's in an interesting spot. I think he can either go north. Yeah, he can go to the east. I think he's going to go east out of Childress. Maybe go to Quanah, Texas. Is that right? Then he can go north from there into El Dorado and Oklahoma. And then we've got Pagey Tornado, who appears to be kind of north and east of the storm right now. Let's see if we can actually get a view of it. I think she's about to turn into somewhere to get a view of the storm. How long have I had interest in weather? Oh, it's been a while. Whoa! Look at that view. Yeah, so this is the southern portion of... this is the southern storm, if I can tell correctly, by her little pin. She appears to be south and east of Childress. And that's certainly got some spin in there. Let me listen in here for just a little bit.
Fantastic.
You can definitely tell there is some spin in that part of the storm there. Wow.
Guys, this is...
Man, it's been a while since we've seen views like this. Then you're just grungy lines during the winter months. But, you know, an actual plain storm where you can actually see the base of the storm, it has been a while. Look at that precipitation on the right side. Right over that grain silo, it appears.
Wow. Look at it.
Yeah, I agree. That is a wow moment for sure.
That is, holy crap, that is beautiful. Ah, I'm dying.
East of Childress and north of Wichita Falls. Do you need to be concerned? Burt Bennett. Let me see if I can find that on the radar in the background here.
I don't care what it is. It looks beautiful. And it's...
Burt
We haven't seen that
Bennett.
in so long. It's crazy. Look at it.
Texas.
No.
It looks like these storms should go north of you. Yeah, it looks like the storms are going to go north of you. You should be good in Burke Bennett. We're mainly concerned about to your north. You're definitely going to be getting some rain, though. Yeah, what we're watching for in the base of this storm. So this is the storm south of Childress that has a decent amount of rotation. If I bring up my radar, if it doesn't block everything, let me resize that. So looks like they just extended this severe thunderstorm warning off to the east for some quarter-sized hail. So they dropped the half-dollar sized hail down to quarter-sized. But yeah, if you look on radar here, you can see there's that rotation that we're looking at. I'm pretty sure she's located like right here in this area.
I know, I love it. It's great.
But that sail down there.
You see that hail core just off on the right side, and then just pretty much, let me see if I have my little thing here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, right in here, there's that mesocyclone.
Sorry guys, I am just looking at the chat now. Hello, hello.
A wall cloud would form like somewhere in this region.
I love this view as much as we do.
That's where we're looking right now, and you can see there's definitely some rotation aloft there, but not much of a wall cloud as far as I can see.
So I'm thinking maybe go back this road to the north a little bit.
Yeah. Stair step with it?
Yeah, to the river.
Yeah. The Hollis Road.
Wow.
Oh my god, look at it.
Yeah, it's been so long since we've seen views like this.
Oh my gosh. Look at this.
All right, let's come back over here to our radar just momentarily. Didn't mean to do that. There we go. Oh man, looks like Storm Runner Media is in the thick of it right now. Might go back over to him. I think he's driving through the hail core, actually. Let's do that really quick. Right after we go over our radar, you can see Storm Runner Media is pretty much driving in this blob right here, where some of the most intense hail is. And that's going to be moving off to the east towards El Dorado here in a little bit. We're still keeping our eyes on this one south near Cromwell, but not a whole lot of rotation is existing into that storm. It seems a little bit elevated. Seems like if we're going to get a tornado, it's going to be out of that storm that Pagey tornado's got a pretty good view on, and one that Storm Runner Media will eventually see here. Let's go see what the inside of this storm is like and what's coming towards El Dorado. It looks like Childress is pretty much done with this. I think there's some hail in there. Kind of sounds like rain. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm very certain why that is so quiet. Yeah, they're starting to maybe get a view on that, but Pagey Tornado's definitely got the best view. Holy moly. I'll keep the radar on the bottom left just so we can see it a little bit better and can continue to keep an eye on that rotation. It's literally just one storm that we're worried about here right now. South of Childress, there's that area of rotation. It's about to cross over 287, which is where Pagey is kind of located. I think she's located just off of 287 there. Yeah, you can definitely tell, though, that hail core off on the right side of the screen. You can see that that leading edge kind of has a boomerang shape to it as well, indicating that there is some rotation in this area. But so far, I don't see a wall cloud just yet. You're southeast of Wichita Falls? Yeah, if you're southeast of Wichita Falls, you're back over in this area. We're watching these storms right now, but they haven't really been able to get their act together as of late, so not overly concerned for the Wichita, Burke Bennett area. But anywhere like really from like Vernon, Frederick, Cache, Altus, and Magnum, that's kind of our sweet spot for today's tornado threat. Interesting. Storm Runner Media's got a new view on this thing, and it definitely looks more wall cloudy from this angle, that's for sure. Compare and contrast. Yeah, not looking nearly as wall cloudy on Pagey's view. Storm Runner Media is kind of viewing the kind of leading edge of what we were just looking at from Pagey Tornado from the backside. So we kind of got a different vantage point. So that you can kind of tell they are looking at the same thing. Very interesting. Storm Runner has a good view. Yeah, they really do. They really do. They're kind of in the belly of the beast right now, just outside of it. They're not going to really be able to sit here for too long before that precipitation catches back up with them. But you can see we're kind of in the whale's mouth of the storm. We got a couple nubs hanging down there. But from Pagey's view, the one that probably looks the most concerning is that little nub off in the distance. That's the one that actually looks like it's hanging down. I think from Storm Runner Media's view, that little thing that's hanging down on the left side is more of just the edge of that kind of push of that cooler air out in front of this storm, but this little nub back here that actually looks like a lowering from both of their perspectives. Welcome, welcome. Insane photographs do not always equal tornadoes. That is true. Absolutely. You know, there is way more to weather forecasting than just a photograph. I'll tell you that. It is very complex, and it's not as simple as just looking at a little curved line and being like tornadoes are going to happen. There's a lot of different layers of the atmosphere.
A new severe thunderstorm watch has been issued.
New severe thunderstorm watch has been issued. Let's go and check that out. It will show up on our screen eventually, but I want to get a little graphic of that. All right, there it is. So this is our severe thunderstorm watch in Spanish. Whoops. There we go. Severe thunderstorm watch. A couple of tornadoes are possible. Scattered hail of up to ping pong ball sized possible. Isolated gust of up to 70 miles per hour possible, with a population of 376,000 people in the path of some of these storms. So that's going to include Hobart, Altus, Frederick, Vernon, Burke Bennett, Wichita Falls, Walters, and Lawton. But just looking at radar and what we can see, it looks like Burke Bennett and Wichita Falls are a little bit more of a conditional threat than it is further up to the north, where we actually have severe weather activity ongoing. Will Granbury, Texas be okay? I think so. Granbury. I think that's closer. Oh, wait. I think that's closer to Dallas, is it not? Could be wrong. Yeah, you guys will be fine. You guys are a little bit too far off to the east. You might get some rain, but that's going to be about it. That's going to be about it. Let's go check out on our latest velocity data. Yeah, still an area of some weaker rotation here near Childress, south and east of Childress, still moving off to the east. One of the things that's kind of sticking out to me on all of these storms right now is that this kind of seems to be becoming a pretty messy portion of our line of storms, with our only kind of more isolated storm further down to the south over here near Crawl. But there's still not a whole lot of rotation with this storm right now, but certainly a storm to keep an eye on. It's been staying at around, 30,000 feet, so it's about at the height it needs to be to kind of tap into the shear environment. Wow. Look at this view from Storm Hunter Media in the belly, or kind of just outside of the belly of the beast here. Again, this storm has 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, so it's not overly dangerous as long as you're indoors and away from windows. Let's go turn on their audio here really quick while I check out something in my DMs. Uno momento.
No tornado possible though, I'm surprised.
Hey Kaylee, I just saw your message. That's a little bit of an overreaction, if you ask me. Let's see. Yeah, the problem with southern Louisiana is the forcing is going to be a little bit weaker down there. But yeah, that's certainly looking a little bit more.
I think it is. I mean, looking at radar and all these mergers,
A bit more interesting. We'll go over that at the end of the stream for sure. We'll go over Tuesday's risk and our latest models there. Feel a bit more comfortable now. Your anxiety gets the best of you sometimes. Yeah, I feel that. Hey, I mean, sometimes these storms can be a little scary, you know? It's kind of the beginning of severe weather season. It's been a while since a lot of us have really seen any, any severe thunderstorms. By the way, we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning with this storm over here near Crowell, Texas. If you live in Crowell, Margaret and Medicine Mound, you guys need to be going indoors and away from windows as this storm approaches. Quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds on this guy. You are so not ready for severe weathers. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. How are the how high are the wind conditions from my area? They're good. My area is looking pretty good. I'm way far to the east of this, but the winds can definitely get pretty spicy on Tuesday. So we'll have to see. Have to see what ends up happening. An exquisite cloud structure. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Definitely got kind of an outflow look to it. There might be something hidden in that rain. See what they're saying about it. I mean, it certainly looks like a storm, a severe thunderstorm. A classic plains-looking storm. This is what you would typically see if you chase in the plains. No trees. That's the main thing you notice. Different from the southeast. In the southeast, we have way too many trees. You barely ever get to see the storm in its entirety in the southeast, but it is kind of looking a little bit outflowy. I'm not really seeing anything dropping down from this one, so I'm wondering if our focus is going to switch to this storm that is over there south of Quinault that just got severe thunderstorm warned. As it is still trying to mature. Not a whole lot of rotation with it right now, but it does seem like that one might have a little bit of a better chance. You're in Ohio and you had to go into your basement multiple times last year. Yeah, last year was really active in the Ohio Valley. I remember covering multiple events up there. I mean, I don't remember the final total, but I mean, there was over like 200 tornadoes in this circle here, potentially even more. I just haven't looked at the graphics over there in a while. And thank you, Dinas Life, for subscribing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank goodness last year wasn't in Dixie. Yeah. Hopefully it's not this year. I saw Trey's our Convective Chronicles tornado forecast, and he thinks we're gonna have like another year where more tornadoes up in here, potentially coming down into the Tennessee Valley a little bit, then also over here into the plains, with the most active month being March, April, quiet in May, and then June, July could be average. Thanks for the live coverage. Yeah, no problem. It has been insane in central Indiana. Yeah, it has been. You guys got a lot of activity last year, for sure. Thank you, Abigail. And just speak my mind. It's as easy as that. It is kind of weird, though, with all the vitriol online. It's kind of hard to state your opinion, and I feel like it's frowned upon. It's weird. Like everybody just wants you to keep your mouth shut, which is not me. I think I just lack that part of my brain. I've got an opinion, I'll tell you. Which can get me into trouble from times to times, but most of the times it's all right. Man, really getting a really good view of the leading edge of this thunderstorm as it's about to push into southern Oklahoma. So areas like Altus and Magnum over the next hour, you're going to be dealing with this storm. Quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and the potential still for some tornadoes. We live in West Tennessee and almost get used to it. We don't have any basement, clay ground. Oh, yeah, that is an issue in some areas of the Southeast for sure. Cassie, did we get our grocery delivery? Is that why you were barking? I think I might have to put away some groceries here. Let me leave you guys with Storm Owner Media's view of a train, a storm train, and I'll be back in literally like a minute.
Right side, where it's projected across is only about 10 miles from the closest crossing, so I guess that's not 10 or 15 miles isn't too bad, but that's also bird-wise, so that makes it difficult. Yeah, I think I might even just coast down for just a few minutes before like fully crossing the Texas, just to make sure I'm not about to do some like crazy mistake. But and I'm still watching this northern cell. I just went through like a couple versions, but visually it still doesn't look like. No, I think it's doing what these storms typically.
That thing is really starting to gush.
Okay, we got golf balls on the southern cell now.
Oh, looks like we just got an update, potentially to our severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go. I'm not sure if that's a spotter report or the severe thunder. Oh, yeah, look at this. Considerable damage threat with our southern severe thunderstorm warning here with golf ball sized hail now. That is going to be going just to the north of Crawl, Texas. Really kind of heading towards the Quinault and Chillicothe region there in Texas. This polygon's a little bit wonky here. You can see the direction of this storm is kind of moving in this direction, not really to the east. And this storm is getting pretty darn interesting. This is definitely the strongest storm, at least in terms of that hail threat that we have right now. Look at our storm relative velocity. Still not a whole lot of rotation on this dude yet, but definitely a storm to keep an eye on as that moves off to the east. This is more forming into a line further up to the north, kind of falling apart. Not a whole lot of rotation with embedded in that line of storms right now. In these kind of limited environments where you just really don't have a whole lot going on, you kind of need to have a little bit more of a discrete mode. If you have a whole lot of competition in an area with this little instability, the storms will fall apart. This stuff is blowing up fast. A little bit. I mean, man, at the beginning of this event, let me go back to this radar. These storms went from like nothing to something real quick. I was watching on radar. I was like, I wonder where they'll fire. And then like literally in like 2 scans, it went from nothing to bam, storms. Really fast. So, and that's just a testament of the lapse rates that we have in this area. There are pretty high lapse rates. And you can see as this has progressed, we are kind of getting more. We had a couple of chances for some storms a little bit further to the south, but these storms have been struggling. If these guys can get their act together, we might have a little bit of a severe weather threat further down to the south, but our best kinematics are really just up here with these 2 areas. How's the lightning strikes populating? What do you mean by that? It's like Tornado Pagey's got a decent view. She's underneath the storm. Oh, okay. Oh, Storm Owner Media is potentially getting some hail. Is that hail?
We're in a cell of some kind right now.
It's like a little tiny cell over there west of Quinault. We should be able to get a view of this southern storm here shortly from Storm Owner Media. They are on it. It just needs to get a little bit closer to the highway, and they need to get past the rain shield and look back at the updraft of the storm. But, I mean, look at that sunshine. We got sunshine on a cloudy day. But yeah, sunshine is shining. You ever watch that movie, Remember the Titans? Sunshine. That's an old movie reference. That kind of looked like some hail. Yeah, the audio is low. I don't know what's causing that. It used to be louder. but it's not. I don't know if that might be. It might be my interface thing. So let me see. Yeah, it's at negative 12 dBz's. Let me turn that up. 12 dBz's. Hopefully that doesn't destroy my eardrums. All right, let's test out the volume again. Hey, that's louder to my ear. Is it still quiet for you guys? It should be louder.
Yeah, that was to the north of Quanah. I believe that was the east-west options.
There's some lightning strikes in the storm. Bit louder. It should be way louder. I feel like if I turn it up much higher, it's gonna blow out my eardrums. I can turn it down on my computer a bit.
Yeah, okay, there's a storm. There's a storm. I see it. I got a visual on it now. We just had to get through that rain.
I think we're about to get our first visual of that storm south of Quanah. Again, this is just to the west, or just to the east of Childress, Texas. Okay, let me know if it's getting louder. It should be getting louder, but I can turn it up a little bit more. Oh wait, no, I can't turn it up any louder. That's about as loud as I can get it.
I'm still a little bit
Huh.
worried the southern one is still just a hailer, but because I feel like it's looking a little worse now. The last few scans.
I don't know. Is this as loud as it can get on YouTube? I just don't want like a tornado warning to come in and then like blow our eardrums out. But I'll let me turn up the volume a little bit more on the desktop
I don't
volume.
even know if I want to call it the Childress Cell because it's past it now, but I mean, I guess heading towards
About
Quanah, I'm still
there.
because they're both moving now.
It's about as high as I can turn it up. And then when if we ever get a tornado warning today, it might be a little loud. Sounds muffled to you? Yeah, I think that's I don't know if that's me or if it's them. Oh wow, Pagey Tornado's got a view of something. Oh, dang. We keep seeing something on her stream and then okay. Yeah, it looks like she's getting out ahead of that storm Runner Media just drove through. So Pagey Tornado and Storm Runner Media are kind of in the same area here. They're in between storms, kind of in storm purgatory right now. You've heard that so much hail and updraft can choke off a tornado. Not really. It really just depends on. I mean, we're talking about golf ball sized hail. Typically, when you get very large hail, that is an indication that you have some lower shear in the area. We shouldn't be able to get to that point today, just given the fact that our shear is high. And so we're going to have more spin in those updrafts. And before the hail can grow, right, it kind of gets flung out of the updraft due to that rotation. Now, if these storms don't really have a whole lot of rotation, that hail will get a little bit bigger. This one really isn't rotating too much right now, so that's probably why we are seeing, larger hail inside of it right now. And it's still trying to get its act together. It's not quite there yet. But no, I mean, you can have hail in a tornado. That happens quite often, actually. Just got here, Storm Chaser. Which Storm Chaser are we watching? So we've got Storm Runner Media, we got Pagey Tornado, and we got an Oklahoma traffic camera. Not even sure if that's live. It was live. Oh, yeah, you can see a car driving there. But yeah, we got Pagey Tornado and Storm Runner Media. They're driving on 287. They're near Quanah. I haven't seen a city yet, so I don't think they've gotten there yet. They're just left this storm, which was rotating earlier. Actually had a decent area of rotation and a pretty cool looking cloud base at one moment. But now it is producing, let's see here, quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds heading towards North Groesbeck, Williams, Lincoln, Carnes there. In Oklahoma and Texas, Lewis as well. Part of this line is just now entering into Oklahoma near Hollis. But further down to the south of Quanah, Texas, north of Corral, we're keeping an eye on this one. This one has some golf ball sized hail. So for reference, actually, I don't have it on this. Let me see if I can transfer that over. Do I even have my hail stuff anymore, or did I delete it? Where'd my hail stuff go? I don't know what I did with my hail. We'll need to find that. But yeah, so essentially that's what we're watching out for. Is this storm going to organize, or is it just going to mainly be a hailer? Again, these storms really don't have a whole lot of time to produce a tornado. Um, so I think all the eyes are either on this storm here, or if we get more of a southern component with this storm eventually as it moves off to the east, that could be potentially a tornado threat. But our tornado threat today is a 5%. It's not super elevated. Certainly no guarantees of seeing a tornado today, so hopefully it doesn't happen. But that's why we're live, just in case. It's a 5% chance. And we'll get to look at some pretty cool storms in the process. It is on Storm Runner Media's end. You're watching them on laptop. Oh, okay. AG just became another storm chaser you sub to. Well, that's a good sub to have. Trust me. She goes out and chases like literally everything. So she's usually live a lot. Looks like Storm Runner Media is starting to get a view on this storm south of Quinault, Texas. Kind of see it. He's still kind of in that precipitation shield. He really won't be able to see the base of the storm until he gets past Quinault, but I think he's in Quinault, Texas right now. Oh, let's do a volume check. Can y'all hear the rain? Quinault. Okay, Quinault. Watching from Alaska. Well, welcome. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It could be a structure day.
Sure.
We've already seen some pretty cool structure already. This one might have the best structure out of all the storms because it's more discreet. We might be able to see the updraft a little bit more exposed. The last little thing we were looking at was more of an outflow boundary, it appears, given that storm almost went immediately outflow dominant after the chasers left it. So we were probably looking at more of a shelf cloud. Home of Kelly Cobb.
South a little bit.
All right.
Not too far though.
So they're going to go south from here. Interesting.
The problem is we're
That's risky.
in the core and the area of interest right now.
Well, they're going to drive right into the core. All right. Looks like we might get a sampling of that golf ball sized hail. If they go south too far, they're going to go right into that golf ball sized hail. Go see what Paige is up to. It looks like she's trying to do some catch up here on the storm. She'll get in view by the time the storm crosses over the highway for sure. Does seem though like the quality's a little low. Let me just make sure that's not on my end. Okay, that is on my end. Okay. There we go. Raw cell is more outflow dominant. Yeah, looks like there's a little bit of a nudger about to run into it. That doesn't really mean much, to be honest. That can help a storm, but there is a little bit of storm forming on the backside that could kind of nudge into the storm and cause it to have a little bit more rotation. But that only happens once in a while, especially and not all the time. So, if you're going to get a more discrete cell like this become more tornadic, usually you do need a little bit of storm interaction. So that might do something. We'll see. There is some lightning in it, meaning that it's still relatively strong. If we come over to the Echo Tops, it's about as tall as the storm will get today at around 35,000 feet. Looking at the vertically integrated liquid, that kind of shows you just like the how fast the updraft is in the storm, and still indicating that this thing could still be producing quarter-sized to golf ball-sized hail. I really want to get a look at what that updraft looks like, though. Watching from Chicago. Well, welcome to the channel. Glad you found us. These storms are not going towards Chicago, though. I can tell you that. Are the chasers today? Yes, they are the chasers. They're going to be the chasers for the rest of the year. If it's like a day where I know that I can pay for more chasers, then we'll have more than two. I think with this next one, we'll probably have end up around 4 chasers if Tyler goes and chases out there. Whether it be around 2 or 3 most of the year. We don't have big pockets. And chasers can be expensive. All the chasers that we use are my friends. They give me a deal, which allows me to be ad-free and sponsor-free. We have a female chaser. Yeah. Yeah, me too. There's a lot of female chasers out there. They just don't go live that often. I think there is like a problem when you go live as a female chaser. You can get a little bit of online harassment, especially on YouTube, where there's a lot more of a potentially younger viewer base. So maybe that's one of the reasons why there's not that many female chasers out there. I don't know. All I know is that I know there's a lot of female chasers that chase, but not a whole lot of them that actually live stream. Hey, thank you, Kenai, for gifting 1 membership. I do appreciate that. But yeah, it's nice to see some female representation out there for sure. Looks a little haggard and broken. Yeah, this northern portion is certainly looking a little disorganized. Not a whole lot of areas of organization there. The southern cell, though, is it also doesn't really have much rotation. It's more discreet, so it's worth keeping an eye on. Just because it's not doing anything right now doesn't mean it won't do anything in the future. The shear is there. I really want to get a look at what this storm looks like, and Storm Runner Media is getting pretty darn close. Yeah, you can see the base of the storm now, actually. But again, we really don't got a whole lot of time for these storms to do things before this environment kind of falls apart. It's a really brief moment where these storms are going to have tornadic potential. And you don't even stream? Yeah. I don't know what it is about it. I just wish we had more respectful people. Looks like Storm Runner Media is getting pretty close to that hail core. The hail's not looking as intense on the radar. We'll see. East of there, it's nice and sunny. Yeah, it's nice and sunny for most folks, unless you're near these storms. Even in between the storms, we were getting some indications of some sunshine. Anonymous people are rude. Yeah, it's something about the, being online, you're not actually there face-to-face with people. For some reason, for some people, that's like a go-ahead to do whatever you want and to just say whatever you want. And unfortunately, that's a problem across not just YouTube, but every single social media platform. Once you remove that face-to-face aspect, you definitely see a different side of people. It's pretty interesting.
Is that the base?
It definitely needs to be studied.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Based on what
velocities on the back side of this thing. Really shallow and just kind of set up and get that, but still weird.
I think that's the base of the storm. Is that the base? It was more to the left. But I guess that kind of makes sense that this would be the base. It's a little bit of a confusing storm, not gonna lie. Will a noodle drop? That is the question. We shall see what ends up happening. So we just got an update on one of these severe thunderstorm warnings, extending it a little bit further to the east. Almost into El Dorado, not quite in El Dorado. So if you live in El Dorado, you're not in a severe thunderstorm warning just yet, but, this storm's coming your way, for sure. And you see, now that looks like the base of the thunderstorm, and that's even got some rotation on it. Look at that. That looks like it to me. That has to be it. That's what I was thinking, is that's the base. You see how exposed that updraft is?
Oh, my nadir senses are tingling.
Tornado senses are tingling. We got the Spider-Man of tornado hunting, and it says his tornado senses are tingling. That doesn't mean anything. He's just going based off of feeling, which fortunately isn't the way that you forecast storms. But it does kind of look like it's rotating a little bit, so we shall see. It's a little bit more of a, discrete cell.
Favorable right now. There for a second, it really just, it was like definitely a brief funnel, not dropping very far down, but elevated and rotating like crazy.
Somebody thinks that they had a funnel.
Okay, I see it. I see it. I still see rotation in there.
I think we saw that, actually. Let's go back a little bit.
Awesome.
Yeah, right there. They're thinking that that was a funnel?
Yeah, okay. So radar-wise,
I guess.
it doesn't make sense, but visually,
Maybe that person that was talking on the radar was closer to the storm. Because it doesn't really look like a funnel from far away. And again, we're looking at this storm right here, south of Quinaw. And by the way, Quinaw, Texas is about to get this kind of leading edge here. So I don't think there's golf ball sized hail in there anymore. Stormwater Media just drove directly through that core. Not even sure if we even heard any hail. It just sounded like some smaller hail in there. Some heavier rain. So in Quinaw, you're probably going to get anywhere from like $50 to quarter-sized hail with this. Wouldn't surprise me if they extended this severe thunderstorm warning. A little bit confused on why they haven't, not going to lie. But yeah, further down to the south, by the way, if anybody's tuning in from like Graham or Wichita Falls, these would be your threat down here, and these storms are just not going to get it done. Seems like that moisture is mainly relegated out in front of these storms. And to be honest, there's really not a whole lot of rotation anywhere. Definitely some cool storm views. That is for sure. And thank you, Lisa, for gifting 5 memberships. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you. 3 Trazies in a trench coat would take over the world. I mean, honestly, if Chaz could pull it off, absolutely. He knows exactly when to give the puppy eyes and when not, which I think would work pretty well in today's world. He's like, "Can I be world leader, puppy eyes?" Everybody would just be like, "Oh." Of course you can. You're just so cute. Here's the view from Stormrunner Media. He's looking back the other way. I think what we were looking at was like the exposed updraft of a non-existent or like an extremely low precipitation supercell. Because that back over there looks like it's attached to the storm, and the storm is past them. All right, we just got a northerly trajectory, thankfully, on our latest severe thunderstorm. Yeah, and as we were hypothesizing here, they have lowered that hail size down to 1-inch hail. That's going to be moving off to the north towards Quinaw. It'll be interesting to see how these storms interact with each other. I am kind of interested. What is the mesoanalysis looking like? Let's go do some nerdiness stuff really quick. Let's go do some nerdy things. Yeah, 500 joules per kilogram, which is a little bit on the low side. Should increase to 1,000 joules per kilogram. That's why they issued that 5%. If it never gets up there, these storms, they'll try, but in the kind of thermodynamic, or in the kind of shear profile and the strength of the shear that we have right now, you're going to need a little bit more thermodynamics, because that the SRH associated with this trough is not particularly high. There is a lot of vorticity, though, in 3 Cape. Not so much 3 Cape, but a lot of vorticity. So we might get like some, what are they called? Some land spouts. Yeah, we do have some land spout potential today. So we'll see. What's going on with my camera? I just noticed that. Why is my face all red? Yeah, I've been going outside a lot more. I might be sunburnt. I think I'm sunburnt a little bit. Ah! I get my thing back over on the right screen. All right, sorry. Thermodynamics are your favorite part of atmospheric science? Yeah. Yeah, I like it all. I like it all. I like thermodynamics, upper air, surface, wind shear, vorticity, lapse rates, hail, tornadoes, damaging winds, just clouds. I like cloud science, water vapor. You look like a cherry. I don't know what's up with that. I've been running a lot. I've been going on daily runs. So that might be, I might be a little sunburned. I also golfed for like 5 hours the other day with my dad. Went absolutely, as you would expect, just terrible. But yeah, takes after his dad. What, our golf game? Yeah. Maybe a little bit of a rotation over there. But that's kind of in a weird spot of that storm. It's not where I would really expect it. Kind of seems like this storm is already kind of falling apart. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but there still is a little bit of a tornado threat. Still keeping an eye on the storm. I guess the next thing we're looking out for is the interaction here. How do these storms interact? I'm wondering if our warm front is like just down here. And when this storm kind of reached its maximum potentials, when it latched onto that warm front, and now it might be, if it's north, if the warm front isn't rising with these storms, the tornado threat will cease to exist. But, latest scan, a little bit more rotation in that area. Getting a little bit better oriented. We're also starting to get some pretty cool views from our storm chasers as well. But let's go over where the storm is and who's getting impacted. So from Quanah, Texas, that storm is directly over you guys now. If there's any hail in it, you're going to start getting it pretty much right now. Next in line is going to be El Dorado. And then after that, we're going to be talking about East Duke, Alesti, and Altus. This line actually extends pretty decently far to the north, but these storms up here really aren't doing too much. They are going to eventually move into Hollis, Magnum, Granite, and Willow. Reflection from my shirt? No. I think like, so when during the winter I stay inside. Pretty much for the entire time. I rarely ever go outside. I really don't like the cold. I only go outside to walk my dog, and it's usually pretty darn brief because my dog also does not like the cold. So in that aspect, we kind of look out after each other. What is that? There's a little dangly thing under there. What is that? Did y'all see that? There was something dangling.
Now, guys.
But I really just need to go south like a few more miles. Seems like all these storms now are moving to the north, but I don't know.
Huh? Yeah. Okay. I thought it was like back there, but
Yeah. I guess we're the only ones that saw that little dangly thing. Oh man, is he really wearing that hat? Dang it. I can't use Storm Runner Media without becoming an ad for Max Velocity. Well, I guess we'll just go away from that every time he shows his face. Where's Garrett? They're not chasing together. But no, I'm literally like, I never go outside, so when I do live stream, I am super used to being like white, really white and pasty. This is the first time I've been able to like run outside in a while. So I've been getting a lot of sun lately. So I'm just not used to seeing it. Yeah, let's get a nice zoomed in view of these storms as they approach El Dorado. There's also another little storm potentially trying over here south and west of Vernon. It is kind of popping up in intensity there. That might be the next one we have to keep an eye on, depending on how long or how much it stays together. Throwing off the camera's white balance. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Oh, there's nothing. I just don't want to become an advertisement for somebody else's channel. So we're gonna have to go away from his face every time he shows it. Let's see here. I quit watching because chat is crazy. Oh. See many things like that one hang down for years and they rarely drop. Yeah, I don't know what that was. I think it could have just been Scud, but it looks like something was dangling down underneath that storm for a little bit. Need a fake tan? Can you imagine? Uh, Never. That ain't happening. I actually like being pretty pasty. But as it gets more into summer, I definitely like I got a little bit of a Native American in my genetics. So when I do tan, I get real tan. You prefer the cold, do more work during the spring and fall than summer? However, super cold. Heck no. Yeah, I just don't do cold. I don't like it. My body is not built for the cold. Like uh, it's just not. I don't know what it is. It's like as soon as I don't know how people deal with the cold. I don't know. I cannot relate. Every time I go outside, I need multiple layers. If I don't, I just instantly become cold and extremely uncomfortable. But to be fair, I live in the southeast. So, by the way, this storm with some hail on it is continuing to move up to the north towards El Dorado. Still not a whole lot of organized rotation in this storm at all. It seems like we might be north, or it seems like we might be north here of our warm frontal boundary. Let me check the observation, see if we can figure out where that frontal boundary is. Where these storms are, well, these storms are actually about to move into a little bit more of a favorable environment. One of our METAR stations out there, out in front of these couple of storms here, I think that's over there near Altus. We got 55-degree dew points out there. A little bit interesting. We also got some storms kind of popping up there. So I'm not giving up on this threat just yet, but I will say the storms are looking a little bit unorganized. What's that? Another little piece of scud, it looks like, hanging down from that cloud.
Kind of in a bad spot.
-5 isn't bad.
You know, the base on
Was
this
negative
thing, though,
24
is looking a
degrees
little
this
bit
morning?
nicer, though.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, y'all keep that up there. I swear, Canada, if you guys send us some more cold air, we're going to have some issues.
I just feel like the southern one. It could be just my eyes.
I'll keep that up there. You can send it into the Great Lakes in the Ohio Valley, but don't send it all the way down to the south. We're done with winter down here. We've had enough.
Say we get back to the 6, I think it was a 34 that goes north, we get back to that little intersection and kind of chill for a second.
I do not want it. Don't even think about it. Do not even think about it. It ain't happening. If you try to send it down here, we will immediately ship it back. Speaking of snow, we could legitimately have probably one of our most intense blizzards this winter happen up in this region on Tuesday going into Wednesday. Actually, I think it's going to be a little bit north of that. I think it's like that. We could get like 40 to 50 mile per hour winds with some snow up in here, kind of like right in this area. But man, I'm so done with winter. I don't know. Just so done with it. I want the heat. There's some sunscreen. Blue lizard mineral base. What does that even mean? Is that sunscreen made out of lizards? Or is that just the name of it? Went to school in -40-degree winter? Ugh. Yeah, you guys need to stop talking about the cold. I'm getting cold just reading chat. All right, latest update on these severe thunderstorm warnings. Still warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch hail. If you live in El Dorado, continue to be ready to be indoors and away from windows. As long as you're indoors from this storm, you will be okay. You will be perfectly fine. But you need to be indoors. The reason why they issue these severe thunderstorm warnings is so you get out of the outdoors. Or in from the outdoors, I guess you could say. 70-degree breeze blowing through the house right now. Where do you live? It's pretty decent over where I'm at. I wouldn't say today was particularly warm in northern Alabama. Wind chill of negative 73? Dude, where do you live? In Antarctica? Ethan goes to school in Antarctica. Say hi to the penguins for me. That's way too cold. You go out, your nostrils stick close after you inhale, you know it's cold. What? Why do we have just like straight up Canadians or people that live in the Arctic Circle in chat right now? Why? Why are you guys here? Please go away. Oh, look at this up here. We're actually starting to see some rotation. You're going to have to keep an eye on that. That's in the line of storms, but it's trying to do a little bit of rotating. We'll keep an eye on that. It's pretty broad right now, but who knows? It's like everybody in chat's like, I went to school in negative 500-degree temperatures. It's like, what is going on? It's too cold. That's too cold. I don't like thinking about cold either. I'm just kidding. I love Canada. The Canadians are so nice, man. It's like impossible to be mean to Canadians. Still a little area of rotation here. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily concerned just yet. Let me see. Given the fact that it's not super tight rotation, it's a little bit on the broad side, but that's kind of some of the most rotation we've seen today. It's just a little bit broader rotation. 77 degrees here. There you go. There we go. Went to school on the dark side of the you guys know nothing. All these people in chat would do horribly on Pluto, though. All this cold talk, y'all can't handle Pluto. All right, looks like that severe thunderstorm warning over there north of Quanah has expired. Storm has also become pretty marbleless here. It's kind of lost its marbles. A little bit more convection, though, happening behind this storm in association. Look at that. And just like kind of the last couple of scans. Y'all see that? Last couple of scans. Looks like these storms are firing off of some sort of boundary. Pretty quickly. Kind of went from nothing to storm pretty quickly there. Oh, looks like Storm Runner Media's got a view of something. Let's see what they're looking at.
Messed it up a little bit, but the thunderstorm with this northern storm, this might be something here.
Negative 49 degrees.
For a minute, that couple is
where are you from?
It's actually looking really good.
All right, everybody put where they're from, because as far as I can tell in chat, we have a bunch of people from like Antarctica in chat right now.
Damn, yeah, it is looking good. Son of a gun.
Ah, Quebec, Ontario. You see, I thought we had a lot of Canadians in here. Ohio, oh, Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota can get pretty darn cold with those Arctic blasts.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
He's got our first tornado warning of the evening. I'm assuming it's going to be for this area of rotation. A new tornado warning. Oh, let's switch back over to here. Has just been issued. So we're going to get a little bit more serious here in chat. No more jokes until the tornado warning is over. Yeah, so that's going to be for that northern storm. Tornado warning is going to be for gold Lewis and McQueen. You guys need to be going into your safe spots. It's that area broader rotation we're keeping an eye on. This is going to be a tornado warning for Oklahoma. Not sure if our chasers can make it up there, though. Not sure. They are pretty far down to the south. Let's go check in on our recent radar. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Decent rotation here just to the south of Gould. Not seeing a debris signature right now, but you can kind of see that that precipitation is wrapping around something here. Still a little bit on the broad side, but again, if you live in Lewis, McQueen, and Gould, Oklahoma, you guys need to be in your safe spots. Let me see if we got any traffic cameras. Oops, not that one. Where's our traffic camera view? Where did I put that, actually? Oh, that's that one. So that's here. Don't think our traffic cameras are going to be... I don't think southwestern. Yeah, southwestern Oklahoma does not have any traffic cameras. The closest traffic cameras we got to this storm are in Lawton, Oklahoma, which is pretty far away. So looks like we're going to be mainly covering this one on radar because our chasers are over here in Quinnon, Texas. Yeah, I mean, when you zoom out here and kind of look at all the storms at once, it's pretty easy to tell which one's rotating, even if you don't know anything. You know, everything kind of looks the same except for this one spot right there where you see those brighter colors pretty close to each other. Maybe a little bit of tighter rotation here north of Lewis. North of Lewis heading towards east 1650. Again, if you live in Gould and McQueen, you guys need to be going to your safe spots. Yeah, it is a little bit tighter on that last scan for sure. Funnels were reported. Okay. Let me see. Where are you seeing those funnel reports? Let me see here. Oh, we had a shear funnel reported near Quanah. So that might have been that one thing that was reported a long time ago. 256, about 20 minutes ago. Or 10 minutes ago, sorry. Yeah, a little bit of a shear funnel. Never actually touched the ground, though. Yeah, we had a funnel report from that one time we were looking at that one storm that Storm Intermedia was going towards. So we've had a couple funnel reports. So far, nothing confirmed yet. No funnels in Utah? No kidding. Not expecting any funnels in Utah. Yeah, latest scans still got some pretty broad circulation here. It was tighter for a moment there. Let me just make sure we didn't have like a debris signature. Yeah, looks like we're getting a lot of hail in this area, so it's going to be kind of hard to tell whether or not we get like a small tornado out of this or not. Although our rotation is still looking relatively broad right now. Still some pretty strong broad rotation, so if this thing tightens up, it's going to try to produce pretty quickly. So if you live in Gould, make sure you guys are in your safe spots. Let's come back over here and check in on our storm chasers. We got Pagey Tornado, who is south of this storm. Let me see where Tyler is. If Tyler's near that storm, we might use him. And I don't think he is. He's also in Quanah, Texas. Oh, wow. I mean, we are getting some cells starting to fire. It seems like the shear environment the kind of the storms are interacting with the shear environment a little bit better. Is why we're seeing rotation on this northern portion of the storm, but we're really not seeing much anywhere else. Although I do want to definitely keep an eye on this storm that's about to go back into Quanah, Texas. No rotation on it just yet, but definitely got a little bit of a Southern Charlie thing happening down here. Also got another storm about to push into Vernon, Texas. Not severe warned by any means, but It is still trying to get its act together and has been slowly trying to develop, producing a little bit of lightning, but it looks like it's struggling to get to full maturity. If a tornado drops, it's going to be rain wrapped. It depends on where it drops. You know, if it drops in this one, yeah, it'll most likely be rain and hail wrapped. You probably won't see it. This one down here, though, if this one tries to produce eventually, then that one is certainly going to be a little bit less rain wrapped. There's something developing underneath that storm. Look at that. Might be like a baby wall cloud trying to get its act together there. Oh man, they are on the dirt roads. And they're wet. Definitely some potential for some storm chasers to get stuck. Where in Oklahoma? It is in southwest Oklahoma. We got a tornado warning over here. It's going to be for Lewis, Gold, and McQueen. I think Lewis, though. Yeah, Lewis is fine. That rotation, though, is getting pretty close here to Gold and McQueen, Oklahoma. So, guys, still need to be in your safe spots. Lewis can come out of their safe spots. I wouldn't go outside. Definitely wouldn't advise that. Okay. Now can we... Dang it. I keep seeing him switch over to that camera, and then he switches it back to this view. We keep missing it by mere milliseconds. System has exploded. Not really. I mean, it's had its moments. Don't get me wrong. We had a golf ball sized hail. We've got an area here of some broader circulation. You can see there is a little bit of a tighter area there south of Gold. I wouldn't say exploded, but it's certainly been gradually getting stronger, for sure. We tried twice donating money and they cancel and refund. Not sure what's going on. It might be something with your bank, Ron. Sometimes banks can be a little bit untrustworthy. Like they don't trust random websites. I mean, YouTube should be a trusted website, so I don't know. Is it pretty much done what I expected? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is, we were expecting some large hail, not significant hail. We were expecting some rotation and a small chance for tornadoes. And we've gotten our first tornado warning of the day here. So yeah. We've gotten some kind of land spouty type funnels today, which I also was expecting, just given the vorticity that we have. We could easily get a tornado along this line here that's just not even warned. So that's why I'm trying to keep a close eye on the chasers to make sure they don't catch something that we're not seeing on radar, because those kind of land spouty tornadoes really don't show up on radar too well. High Risk Chris is on this storm. Interesting. He's a pretty good YouTuber. All right. Okay. I see Storm Runner Media is looking. Why? Every time I see him looking there, or I catch him looking there, I switch over, and then he switches it immediately. I feel like I'm getting pranked. He is rocketing up to the north here. He's trying to catch up to this tornado warned portion of the storm. I think I would stay to the south still. If I was chasing, I'd probably still be near Quanaw. I mean, this one certainly got a decent amount of rotation. And it's the only storm rotating, so I can definitely understand blasting up to the north here. Still waiting on that latest scan to come in. Checking out our correlation coefficient. We're still not seeing any debris signature with this. But definitely some broader circulations with a couple of instances here of some tighter circulations embedded in that. So definitely would still be in your safe spots there in Gold and McQueen. It's expected to head to northwest Louisiana eventually, yes. The fires in the Carolinas, I don't know much about those. I don't really cover fires unless they're like really close to like very populated areas. But even then, most of the time, especially going into the spring, we're busy covering severe weather. Yeah, this is not the storm that will be heading into northern Louisiana. We've got another one that's kind of in California right now. I think it's causing some thunderstorms over here. Oh, wow. Interesting. A little bit of thunderstorm activity from that storm. We'll eventually move in, but this one is going to be just kind of its own little system here, and it's only going to produce severe weather for about a day. Anything yet? A couple of funnels today so far. No confirmed tornadoes. We had somebody that thought that they might have seen a land spout touch the ground, but no real confirmation on that. Hey, thank you, Ron, for the $10. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. The winds are offshore. It's threatening Myrtle Beach. Like actual, like close to Myrtle Beach, or Cali's going to get soaked for a week. It was a land spout tornado. It's pretty much a tornado that is not associated with the mesocyclone, like with the updraft of the storm. Thank you, Theodore, for the 2. Getting a pretty good look. There we go. So they're getting kind of, I think they're going a little bit north and east on this storm here. And there's the leading edge of our southern severe thunderstorm warning. No problem, Carrie. Unfortunately, though, it seems like I was talking about the NWS all by myself. I know a couple people made Twitter statements, but that was it. I feel like people latched onto it for a day, and then now most people are just pretty silent on it, which is a little bit unfortunate, in my opinion. But it is what it is. Fires are close to Myrtle Beach. Yeah, let me see if I can get some more information on that. I don't know much about it. I haven't really been keeping track of that. See if I can get a brief understanding. Oh, wow. Oh, that's pretty bad. What the heck? It looks like some structures have already been burnt down. It's a 200-acre fire. It looks like it started like right next to a neighborhood. Wow, I did not know that. Very interesting. Let's go give an update on our tornado warning. Yeah, latest scan here. Still some broad circulations, a couple of tighter circulations still kind of on the leading edge of this storm. No debris signatures with any of these just yet, but Gould and McQueen still need to be in their safe spots. It'll be interesting to see if they extend this tornado warning, because there still is some decently broad rotation with this. I'm not sure. Those kind of broad circulations, they sometimes cancel the tornado warning on them. Man, Storm Owner Media has got quite the view of this storm, the leading edge of this storm here. You can see there's definitely a lot of rotation aloft.
Tightening up. They might have to issue a new warning north of Gold.
We know how the fire started? No. I don't. I mean, I'm sure I could find out if I research a little bit more into it, but we are a little bit busy right now. And thank you, AJ Clips, for the 10. There's a lot of fires in South Carolina, apparently. And the fire conditions are elevated over there. Man. That's an interesting looking little boundary there. All right, so let's come back over to here. One of the things we can do just really quick, since we're talking about it, we can come over to satellite view and see if we can see like the actual fire itself from satellite. Yeah, looks like there's some smokiness happening like near Myrtle Beach. Yeah, right in that area. I wonder if you can see it on radar. Sometimes you can see fires on radar. And that might be it. Coming out from North Myrtle Beach. Yeah, that's scary. I mean, it's not a big fire, but it started right next to some neighborhoods. So we just got an extension here of our severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's going to be for Schroeder, Russell, just stopping right before Mangum there in Oklahoma. Man, look at this cell over here. It's trying over there north of Vernon to mature. No, absolutely zero rotation on that, though. New Mexico and Texas, yeah. Yeah, after this storm comes through, kind of on the backside of this storm, you can see we do have some high wind warnings out here, and I also have my red flag warnings off. Let me turn those on just briefly. You can see that as we move into tomorrow, there could be like 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts in some of these areas. Let's see what they're saying here. Yeah, up to 50 mile per hour wind gusts on Sunday going into Monday. It's going to be on the backside of this storm, so just be watching out over here near Lubbock, Midland, Pecos, San Angelo, Albuquerque, Roswell, Clovis. It's going to be really dry, and those winds are going to be pretty high. So you're going to definitely have those chances for some fires. If you see some smoke, oh, look at that. Our tornado warning has been allowed to expire. There we go. Stream a fire risk for them tomorrow. Yeah, I think I remember seeing that. Let me just double check that. Not super plugged into the fire weather stuff, so kind of catching up here. Oh yeah, tomorrow there's an extreme fire risk for Roswell, Carlsbad, and Clovis, Ciudad Juarez, over there near Fort Davis, and Pecos. That's a little scary. Extreme fire behavior is definitely not something to second guess. That is for sure. Yeah, latest scan on this storm, you can see that rotation is getting quite broad. I'm starting to wonder here if our instability has ticked up at all. Since we're starting to see some more rotation, I'm wondering if our instability is picking up with it. No, we're still a little bit low here on our instability. We should have had around 1,000 joules per kilogram by now, and it looks like we're just never going to get there, according to our latest forecast. So a little bit lacking on the instability here in comparison to what we were expecting. Still some decent lower level shear in this area. We do have a little bit of a capping inversion, temperature inversion there near the surface, also in the mixed layer as well. These storms are going to struggle pretty much from here on out. We might be at the end of our tornadic potential here. But we'll stick around for a little bit longer just to see if anything else pops up. But just looking at the background environment, we're kind of in a little bit or a lot less favorable environment than even just a moment ago. You'd be surprised how many fires are caused by folks with cigarette butts. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with that kind of stuff. Let me see if I can, like, literally anything that has a flame to it. You definitely need to. Let me see if I can get some more information on this thing, though. Hold on. On these fires. Let me see if watch duty has anything on them. Oh, yeah. Look at this. Not sure if there's any evacuations. I don't think watch duty has that, but there's Myrtle Beach. It looks like we're getting some infrared readings over here near Walker Woods. And yeah, I think some of the videos I was seeing was right next to this neighborhood. So I think we've already lost some buildings here near West Sonnet Lane. Yeah, that is really close to a pretty populated area. And unfortunately, Myrtle Beach is a very beautiful area as well. Near Newcastle, Texas. I don't know where Newcastle is, but there's the storms. The only storms that I see are over here. We have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. Looks like our hail threat is dying down a little bit, which means our storms are probably starting to struggle here. Neighborhood is still under construction, you believe? Well, that would be the best case scenario, I guess. Nobody lives there. See if there's any traffic cams in Myrtle Beach. See if we can get some eyes on this. Not sure how South Carolina's fire things are. Our cameras, our traffic cameras are. I don't remember if they're live or not. Oh, they are live. I'll look around for just a brief moment. There are some in the area. In the Carolina forest. Not even seeing any smoke in the sky. I think a lot of these cameras are suffering from exposure issues. I don't know if the fire is still going or not. They look rather elevated. Yeah, one of the things that is happening with this storm right now is that we're getting a little bit of a surface inversion, which essentially means that these storms are really going outflow dominant at this point. So that would definitely make them more elevated. And if you look on Storm Runner Media's view here, you can really see the bases of these storms have lifted quite a bit. Oh, I think that's Jordan Hall. They might be close to the Team Dominator. New structures lost. They were starting to drop water on it. Okay. We had a fire in my area, which isn't normal at all. Yeah, keep in mind, especially in like the southeast, they're also doing a lot of prescribed burns not right now. They've stopped them due to the dangerous fire conditions. But a couple of days ago, I saw a couple of fire or some smoke streaks, I guess you could call them. But all of those were prescribed burns.
What's he doing? What is he doing?
Yeah, you can see that's a really elevated base. Like I said, today's tornado threat was only going to last for a couple of hours, and we might already be at the end of it. It's kind of looking that way. I'm not really seeing much. Thankfully, I don't. We had a lot of funnel reports today, but nothing confirmed that was on the ground. I mean, there's still a couple little areas here of some rotation in and along this line. There's even one over here, but they're not strong areas of rotation. We'll keep an eye on it for a little while. Those rotations go away, and that's it. But lots of fires around the Smith Lake. Yeah, a lot of those, Chris, were prescribed burns. Will I be on Tuesday? Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be on tomorrow night. Depends on when those storms get started. So tomorrow, let's kind of go over that. Since we got a little bit of time, let's go over our future threat here. Just in case we got anybody down the line. So tomorrow, we've got another slight risk for severe weather. We also have a 5% chance for tornadoes. And this is going to be majority an overnight type deal. Tomorrow night going into early morning. So I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm going to go to bed early or stay up late that night. Not exactly sure, because the next day is looking also a little bit concerning. Obviously, we have an enhanced risk tomorrow. The enhanced risk has been getting smaller, though. Now, let me go over to my big screen here. The enhanced risk has been getting a little bit smaller. So, and that's because we're definitely lacking enough instability for a large area out here. Still seems like southern Louisiana, though, and Louisiana in general could be our main hotspot. for the potential for some tornadic activity. But let's go over our latest models. We should have our 18Z model and a little bit more of a look into what's possible, not only tomorrow night, but also going into Tuesday. So let's see here, continuing to push this forward. So yeah, starting at around 11 p.m., 12 a.m., we could have a line start to form over here near Elk City and Altus. Looking at our supercell composite, there's certainly some decent. Yeah, I mean, the instability, according to the HRRR, is going to be up into the 2000s here at the beginning. And our lower level and upper level winds are certainly going to be pretty elevated. I mean, everything's kind of lining up here, for some tornado potential. Now, as you can see, all these storms almost instantly turn into a linear line. But, we could still see some tornado threat exist with this line going into 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., maybe a little bit more of a semi-discrete storm mode here as we go into 3 a.m. over there near Oklahoma City. Let's go check out our kind of kinematics now as this moves into that area. Yeah, lower level jet still getting stronger. Upper level jet is it's not super strong, or at least as strong as it's going to be, but it's still present, and we still have a decent area of instability. So yeah, these storms could definitely be tornadic as we go into 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., going into 6 a.m., and then the latest portion of our HRRR model brings us into 8 a.m. here. And we still have what appears to be some instability down there. Yeah, a little bit of instability. You can see, though, our storms are starting to outrun that instability. But these ones down here in particular, like near Shreveport as we go into Tuesday, I think these are going to be the main storms we have to watch. There still is a strong tornado potential. You can see those 850 millibar winds at this point are really starting to pick up. Upper level trough is starting to push in. We're starting to get that diffluence aloft, but our instability is back over here in this area with our line kind of draped in there. So, still kind of the same thing. My thoughts are still kind of there. You can see our significant tornado parameter only goes up to like southern Arkansas, but I really do think our main area for tornadoes is going to be like in this corridor here. And that is if the HRRR continues with enough instability here. Going into 12 p.m. on the 4th, can see some supercells out in front of that line, a little bit more discrete, strong wind shear down there. Again, same thing with the 500 millibar winds. Let me just check not a whole lot of convective inhibition. I do want to check in on that surface base cape. Yeah, I mean, still some decent instability there. And those cells are in that. The only thing about these cells is they might struggle to become mature. Our main divergence is going to be up in this, or a little bit further to the south. Hold on. It's going to be like up in this region. So that's where pretty much we're getting I guess you could say like a vacuum in the way upper levels, in the 200, 300 millibar levels, and that forces the air up, right? So you get a cold front also, or not a cold front, but a Pacific front kind of move into that area as well with that divergence. You get a lot of storms up here, decent amount of wind shear up there, so you still can't rule out a brief tornado as far north as areas like Little Rock. But I mean, the more north you go from Little Rock, the smaller the chances get. I really do think our main tornado corridor is going to be back down in this region. But we're still not quite in range of this storm. We're at around 12 p.m. on our HRRR, so there's still a lot of things that need to be worked out. Also, we're going to be monitoring a little bit of a cold core threat up here. You can see as this storm kind of ejects off into Missouri, we could have something that's similar to what's happening down here near Altus happen up here on the 4th, but a lot of uncertainty still with that. I'm waiting for the HRRR to come in fully for that cold core potential before we really start to talk about it too much. But regardless of everything, out in front of the storm, it's going to be real windy. Really from the coast all the way up into St. Louis, also back where we're going to start to see some snow. We can have widespread 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, making it into the northern Texas, also into the Colorado region in Nebraska. It's going to be really windy storm with, a lot of wind. Wind along this, the leading edge of the line, gradient winds out in front, gradient winds back here in this region where we're almost guaranteed to see some blizzard conditions there as well, associated with some of the snowfall that's going to be possible there. If I switch this over to our precipitation type, you can see we're already starting to see some heavier snow in some of those 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. So it's going to be whiteout conditions over here for a large portion of Nebraska going into Colorado. And eventually that's going to work its way into parts of Iowa, southern Minnesota, and Wisconsin as that continues to push off to the north and east. But we're just a little bit too far out there on our models. So check what the SPC posted. Let me see. On the group chat. Yeah. Yeah, we already talked about the fire weather, I thought. Oh, okay. I didn't talk about this. Okay, so this is key messages for Tuesday, March 4th, severe weather. Timing. Strong to severe thunderstorms are likely over portions of southern plains early Tuesday. Additional severe storms will spread eastward into lower Mississippi Valley and southeast states Tuesday afternoon and evening. One or two organized lines or clusters of thunderstorms and perhaps a few supercells will pose a risk for damaging wind gusts, a few tornadoes, some strong EF2 plus, and isolated hail. Safety actions potential exists for storms to move very rapidly on Tuesday. It is important to take action when watches and warnings are issued and not wait to see or hear the signs of a severe storm. And that's another thing. A lot of these storms could be moving like 50 to 60 miles per hour. So once you get a warning issued for your area, that storm's going to be coming towards you pretty quickly. All right, let's go check back in on our storms really quick. We'll come back over to this view. And bring up our radar. Just double check to see if anything's changed. Anything worth mentioning? All right. No real areas of rotation. Definitely still have a severe thunderstorm warning, though, moving up towards Mangum. Does anybody have any questions? Not really related to locations, but any general questions about the setup? I'll be going live tomorrow when we have our risks out and our HRRR like actually in view of the whole day of the 4th. So we'll probably be going live tomorrow at around 5 p.m. And we'll be answering a lot of your questions in terms of locations on that day, but just general questions about kinematics and all that stuff. We can open the floor to that. Kansas looks really windy. 50 to 60, potentially even 70 mile per hour wind gusts is possible, especially for western Kansas. Early morning, afternoon risk on Tuesday. Yeah. I think I'm gonna go live at 12 a.m. tomorrow. Which kind of sucks because I've been waking up at like 5:45 every morning. So I don't know how that's going to be possible. Man, look at that shelf cloud here on Storm Runner Media's view. Look at that. Anything sketchy heading towards Lawton? Not really. It looks like these are going to go north of you. Definitely some more rain, but kind of what you've already been seeing. Is there a chance for southern New England to be a part of the severe weather? Yeah, it's just, the really crappy thing about living on the East Coast is that usually the day when we have the most accuracy for the East Coast in terms of our models is the same day that everybody's live covering the most tornado warnings. So it kind of sucks. But there is still some decent uncertainty about Wednesday, but a slight risk is still out there and issued. It'll be interesting to see if this changes tomorrow. I'm not sure. Let me just double check. It might be in the range. Let's come back over to here. It might be in the range of the NAM 3K, our latest run. If it is, we'll talk about it. But if it's not, we're still really not in that range of accuracy yet. Yeah, the closest we can get. So by tomorrow, yeah, we might be in range with the NAM 3K. So we might be able to answer tomorrow when I go live tomorrow night. Might be able to answer some more questions. And is all that going to be snow? Oh my gosh. Snow for Kansas City and Springfield, potentially even making it into northern Arkansas. Is there any support for that? Honestly, this is a huge storm. This storm is huge. As it's literally like 40 to 50 mile per hour winds all the way along this backside. 40 to 50 or 60 mile per hour winds all the way out in this region at this point. Potential tornadoes happening in Alabama, blizzard conditions, potentially. Man, that's a lot. I think the snow threat is definitely intensifying. Let me go check out the GFS on this. See what it says. See if there's any model support. So we don't have the 18Z yet on the GFS. Yeah, I mean, it brings snow all the way down to Springfield. So there is some agreement on that snow making it that far down to the south. Very interesting. Let me check the NAM 12K so we can also look at those wind gusts. There's that. Goes all the. I want to see what portions of this would be like a blizzard. Are we still getting potential blizzard conditions at this point? Wind gust. Yeah, I mean, we could have blizzard conditions all the way into here. So areas like Iowa could be in blizzard conditions. Northern Missouri could be in blizzard conditions. Southern Minnesota as well. That's quite the winter storm there. That's for sure. Quite the winter storm. Snow for Springfield. It's looking possible. I mean, the GFS and the NAM are in agreement on that. It is certainly possible. Yes, snow in Springfield, Missouri is possible. Shouldn't be blizzard conditions, though. Looks like those blizzard conditions will be mainly in Iowa, in northern Missouri. For Chicago, I would assume so. I think we'll have to look at the GFS for that. Oh, sorry. I would assume snow. Oh, dang. Need to get that 18Z in. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit is possible. Probably not a whole lot of accumulation. Let me see if the NAM 12K is in range of that. Yeah, it is. Yeah, into Chicago, and I think the winds are going to be pretty strong. Probably not blizzard conditions, but it's going to be pretty windy. I mean, we're talking about anywhere from like 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts possible. So yeah, Chicago could get on some decent snow up there as well. Have we seen any tornadoes? No. We've gotten some funnels out of these storms, but I think our tornado threat is pretty much done. This is the view, though, of the leading edge of the line that is going into Mangum and Blair and Altus. Here within the next hour or 45 minutes, this is what it looks like. It's a little bit elevated, outflow dominated. Is there anything coming? Yeah, let me check that out for you since you're here. Did you say Whitesboro, Texas? Yeah, your main threat, you're going to be in a 5% tornado risk, not today, but tomorrow. And that's going to be like probably around like 3 to 4 a.m. So it's going to be a late night. I might go live for that. We might have to do like an all-nighter. I just don't know if I'm going to have the energy for that. Not sure. I'm going to have to do some planning. Because I've been going to bed at like 10 p.m. every night now, waking up at 5:45 a.m. North Alabama, looking like mainly a damaging wind threat, with a small chance for like those brief spin-up tornadoes. Whoa! Look at that. Look at that storm structure. There's a little bit of rotation aloft in that one. Is there something weather-wise you're looking forward to, either being invented or becoming easier? There's new. It's kind of a sore subject, but there is some new radar technology that takes scans like once every, like, I think a couple of seconds. Forget what it's called, but we need more funding for it. We're not going to get that implemented probably for years now, unless we can somehow get some more funding for the NWS. I mean, there's new radar technology, AI weather models. I'm interested to see if it can figure anything out. I think that would be really helpful if AI weather models could become more accurate than some of our other models. That could be a place where it could really help out. Drone technology, like long distance, larger drones that can just kind of fly along a storm the entire time, measuring, little variances in the atmosphere out in front of it. That would be really cool. What else? More radars would be nice. We're not going to get that anytime soon. Kind of a sad moment. We really do need more funding, and this doesn't seem like we're going to be getting it, unfortunately. When will this hit Alabama? It's going to take a little while. The storm is going to be hitting northern Alabama. Hasn't even started yet. Let me go over check in our. Let me see if I think the NAM 3K is in range. Not sure how accurate it will be for timing. So yeah, northern Alabama is going to be really, it looks like 10 to 11 p.m., kind of late night. Our wind shears, our winds at this point are going to be pretty intense, but our instability is going to be really low. It's going to be hard to get a spin up. It's mainly our main threat up in northern Alabama going into Tennessee is going to be damaging winds, potentially even up into Kentucky as well. It's about the furthest north extent. We could still have some prefrontal cells out here further down to the south in southern Alabama at this time, but our cape and instability is really low. You can see that our storms are kind of outrunning that instability, but the HRRR seems to think that the storms aren't going to really be outrunning that instability too much, and they're going to have more access to it. So it'll be interesting to see. But overall, for northern Alabama, we're expecting a lot lower of a risk. Phased array. Yeah, that's what it's talking about. Phased array Doppler. Most have been retrofitted, upgraded last year. Yeah, it like scans like really fast. Really aren't typical. Hey, I appreciate it. I love questions. If you ever got them, please ask them. Especially when we don't have any tornado warnings and nothing really too crazy to watch on radar. We can joke around, have a little bit of fun while we wait for things to pick back up again. And there goes our last severe thunderstorm warning. We may end up depending solely on spotters and chasers. It could happen. I mean, again, we're not even like, I don't know why people keep on coming in my comments and saying, like, oh, but you're still using models and radar, so, you're overreacting. It's like, all I'm saying is that this is where it could go. And this is why, we need to make sure that we protect our weather infrastructure instead of defund it and fire employees. It's just that simple. Like, you guys have to realize that if the NWS gets underfunded and we start losing radars and models, I'm not going to, I'd lose my job too. I cannot go live without radars. I will not be helpful to you in the future. I need radars to watch storms. I need weather balloons to feed that data into weather models. I'm all for auditing the government, getting rid of some wasteful spending in places that need to be, like the Pentagon has failed how many audits? We still don't know what the heck's happening there. I'm all for that. But don't touch the weather service. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, okay, so our warm frontal boundary is actually still draped over Texas. So that's what's happening here. Our storms have jumped over that outflow bound, I mean that warm front. And so we're just going to our tornado threat has definitely gone down. To audibly announce the warnings. It's a custom program. The person that made it, though, I don't know why, but they like to be anonymous. So, ooh, Pagey's got a nice little view of a storm. Look at that. A little bit of a mesocyclone. She seems to be a little bit further south than Storm Intermedia. You can definitely tell there's some rotation aloft. Yeah, well, I will say this, Rosalind. So when I made those videos, I lost about 200 subscribers, which I personally don't care about. I care way more about the NWS than I care about the money I make on this channel or the subscribers I have. I will defend the NWS no matter what. But I think for like bigger YouTubers, they are afraid to make a statement really about anything because they don't want to lose potential money or subscribers or viewers because they care about it a lot more than I do. So that's why I don't get sponsorships. Like they could lose sponsorships if they speak out about that kind of stuff, right? That's why it's always better to follow somebody that is more independent, doesn't do sponsorships, doesn't rely on corporations to fund their channel, because I can speak freely about this stuff. Yes, I might lose a couple of subscribers, you know, maybe a couple of bucks a month, but I can speak my mind, and I'm not going to let that influence my behavior. I actually wanted to do a live stream and have a debate with chat about it, but I just don't think we're going to have enough time to do that. We're getting pretty busy, which kind of sucks. What do you think about Tuesday? Tuesday, it's kind of iffy. I think we got a lot of failure modes, a lot of things that can go wrong. I think like can go right, I guess, if you're not wanting tornadoes, right? So like we still do have a little area of instability, at least on the HRRR that exists down here in this area. That warm sector is pretty small. But I do think tornadoes are going to be possible in and along the line, pretty much up to Little Rock, down to the south. The ones up here are going to be briefer and weaker. We could still have some maybe more discrete, semi-discrete line segments that could produce stronger tornadoes into like northern Louisiana, going into like Mississippi. Like, let me draw that in like a different color. I think our highest tornado threat's going to be like right here in this region. Everything else to the north should be a lot, more conditional threat for tornadoes, and you're more smaller and briefer tornadoes up there. But still, I think damaging winds is going to be our primary threat. I mean, we could easily get some significant damaging winds out of this, 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. It's definitely going to be a dangerous day, and we still have some time for the models to change and uptrend, right? So we're definitely not. I mean, the HRRR is just coming into range. Tomorrow we're going to have a lot more answers. This is how it works, and this is why when you're on YouTube, you don't click every single video when somebody is saying, oh, we're going to have the biggest storm of March happening, and then they're looking at it, especially for severe weather. They're looking at a forecast, from 5-6 days out. They're going to be wrong more than not. Sometimes that does verify. Don't get me wrong, but models 5 days out, especially for severe weather, they're usually missing a lot of characteristics that are super important in trying to determine what a storm is going to do. That's why you don't say anything definite. You can say things are possible. You can look at the trends, but you can't really tell any specifics. So how are you going to know if it's the biggest storm possible if you can't look at any, or the biggest storm of March if you can't look at any specifics yet? And so this is how it works. In the long term, 7 to 10 days, you can look at ensembles, you can find trends and patterns. You can say this is something that needs to be watched, but you don't know any specifics. 5 to 7 days, you start to get a little bit closer, those trends are still going to shift, but you get a little bit more certainty that the storm's actually going to happen. Well, once you get into that 2 to 3 day range, we get things like the HRRRs, we get the NAM 3K models. These are our high resolution models. This is when we can actually tell you, more details on what kind of tornado threat we're going to have, what kind of hail threat, damaging wind threat we're going to have, and we're going to know the failure modes, what could all the different scenarios more. But that doesn't happen until 2 to 3 days out, and sometimes the day before an event, right? And you're just never going to get that kind of clarity when you're looking at a storm 5 days out. Never. Even if all the models agree, you're still not getting that finer detail. What is the Cape going to be doing? What is the lapse rates going to do? Those are important, especially in the Southeast. You get under those 6 lapse rates, things can fall apart pretty quick. How is the storm going to inject? What's the storm geometry, right? You can kind of tell, right? But when all of this changes all the way up. So you have 5 days of change. So, unfortunately, people just do not hold back their wording because they want clicks. But, you got to be careful. I really do feel like this storm, I wouldn't say it's overhyped. I think people were looking at the models and understanding the models correctly. 5 days ago, the trough looked freaking crazy, and it still kind of looks crazy, but the instability is not there. And that's something that's developed recently. Or it's not there as much as you would need for like a significant, widespread, long track, violent tornado outbreak. And that's like just those subtle details that can be off a little bit. And yeah, you got to pay attention to that stuff. You're getting, same with snow. Snow's even worse. But I mean, I still think it's going to be a dangerous day. It's just not. It's not like I mean, we were having people saying that like a super outbreak is possible, but it's like you don't know that 5 days out. Like a super outbreak is like a tornado outbreak with like over 100 tornadoes. You need a very specific environment to get that, and you just don't get that often. What's the 2 things that have changed in the last 20 plus years that I think has been the best, and the 2 things that hasn't? What do you mean by that, Carrie? Yeah, I think our tornado threat is still pretty calm right now. Our storm chasers, though, the only reason I'm still live here is because every time I look at our storm chaser views, still definitely seeing some rotation pretty close to the surface. Like this storm is looking pretty beefy here, but you can definitely tell it's rotating. Just not sure. It kind of looks a little elevated, but what amazes you is that people continue to click on it. You know what? I figured that out. Okay. Oh, I've been wanting to talk about this with you guys for so long, or for like a couple of hours now. Your phone causes amnesia. Can anybody in chat give me a detailed description of all the videos you've seen today on YouTube, on TikTok, anything? I'll wait. I know you can probably name a couple things. There's no way, like, nobody remembers everything that they watch. But like, if you put down your phone and then you go to the doctor's office, you can remember like some of the people that you saw. You remember the conversations that you have. Like you go throughout your day and you remember that stuff. Like if you make a meal, you remember cooking it. You remember the ingredients you threw into it. But when you're on your phone, you're not remembering like anything. Okay, that's different. This is like I mean, yeah, this isn't like your typical, your typical like fast-paced content. Terrible for attention and focus, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like if you're online for a while, right? And you're watching YouTube and you're going through Twitter, like you don't remember like anything you do. Oh, you were talking about weather prediction stuff? Two of the good things, I think models have been getting more accurate. Man, those storms look pretty crazy. Look at Storm Runner Media Storm. Sorry, I'm keep getting distracted by these views. We're getting a structure show right now with a lot of these storms. Autopilot? No, I think you're like legitimately going through amnesia. I think your brain just stops remembering because it's just too much data, too many changes of subjects. I think you literally suffer amnesia, and I bet it's not healthy. And so, like, when you click on a video, you kind of see the thumbnail, you kind of see the title, but it doesn't really register. And by the time you're done with the video and you moved on to the next video, you are completely unaware if you have been clickbaited or not. Yeah, both Page and Stormrunner Media are on completely different storms here. This one looks interesting. It looks a little bit more surface-based. Bias. Yeah, bias can play a role. But you don't reach that wide of an audience just off of bias. There's also just the thing that I think, like, I have a theory that I'm working on. I haven't really quite completely honed in on what like the conclusion of my theory is. But I think it has to do with like subconsciousness or something like that. I don't know. I'm still working on it, but it has to do with the phone, the dopamine, and things that we already know, but kind of extrapolating from there. Levy, that is extremely impressive. We need to study your brain and get a phone vaccine going. So everybody can remember all the content they consume. Person just came in here. Did you look at your history or did you pull that straight from your memory? Because that's impressive. Yeah, I mean, if you're not watching a lot of content, if you're a lot like one of those people that are like chronically online, you probably don't suffer from that as much. But I do think I think the side effects of that amnesia and overexposure to dopamine, especially if you're chronically online for most of your day, probably for more than 5 hours, is that you become more isolated. You don't go out as much. Outside, talking to real people isn't as entertaining because the reward centers of your brain are fried. They are fried. You have no that's what causes motivation is, being rewarded. By the way, Magnum and Altus, you got a storm coming. There's no rotation near the surface, thankfully, with any of these storms, but special weather statement is coming for you guys. Some rain, some half-inch hail, and some 50-mile-per-hour winds are possible. So still be indoors in Altus and Mangum. Yeah, people zone out. I don't know what it is. I think it has something to do with the prefrontal cortex, because the prefrontal cortex, it was what sparked this thought. I was watching this video about a guy who got the flu, and during the flu, something with his immune system happened. I think it was like herpes crossed through his brain barrier into his brain and like completely destroyed his prefrontal cortex. And he has a memory of 7 seconds before it like just completely resets. Like there are because the prefrontal cortex is required for memory quite a bit, but like you can remember things in other parts. So he like remembers his wife. He remembers some of his kids, but like if you bring up something with him and you talk to him about it, and then you ask him like 30 seconds later about what you talked about, he has no idea what happened. And a lot of times he just kind of repeats like, "You're the first people I've seen in my whole life." It's crazy. I would look it up. It is the most craziest thing, but that kind of reminded me of like, man, I kind of feel like that when I'm on my phone for a long time. Like I watch a whole video, I watch the next one, and I kind of forget the last video I watched. And we talked about the weather a lot. We're just kind of chatting right now. The storm, we had a tornado threat, but it's pretty much completely fallen apart. Some nice storm structure is going on. Altus and Mangum should be indoors and away from windows. By the way, speaking of, I think we had someone in here in Burke Bennett in Wichita Falls earlier. A little bit more of a maybe a heavier rain is coming to you guys. We're not expecting any tornadoes with these guys, or not even really severe weather, but some heavier rain is coming. Thyroid-induced brain fog. That's interesting. Wonder how those are linked. But yeah, I'm super interested in the brain and how it works. I keep trying to learn about it. I'm trying to get more informed on the phone use, because I do use my phone quite a bit, and I just have this sinking feeling that it's going to cause some sort of like permanent damage. Like I see it more in the younger generation, where they get a lot more anxiety when they go out, because they're just too much into their phone, and so they've completely like their dopamine centers are completely shot. I talked to this one lady one time. She said that like when she brings her son into like the grocery store, he's like afraid to even ask for help. That's obviously anecdotal, but I'm trying to figure out more concrete things, because we all use the phone like crazy. We all use the phone like crazy. Like if it has any bad effects, like long-term effects to like brain development, that would be nice to know. But the thing is, we're all using it, at least in the United States. We're all using it at the same time. So if that's the scary thing about it, is that since everybody uses a phone, if it does have long-term effects, we're not going to notice them because we're all developing them at the same time. So everybody seems normal to us. But like if there's something like they've already discovered that it like completely screws up your dopamine centers and serotonin, which affects your sleep. That's why some people, if they're on their phone late at night, they have trouble sleeping. I think a broken line of supercells is possible on Tuesday. It's possible, but again, another thing I want to say about Tuesday is that the HRRR, whenever it comes just into range of a potential severe weather outbreak, it's usually wrong. So just keep that in mind. It's usually wrong. So this is going to change. I think tomorrow we're going to have, tomorrow night we'll probably have the best understanding of what this storm could possibly do that we will have. So I'll be going live again. I'll release a video in the morning, as I always do. I'll go live at 5 for sure. And then I'm still kind of considering whether or not I'm going to go live at like 12 a.m. To cover the overnight threat, because there definitely seems to be an elevated tornado threat overnight for pretty much starting here and then ending here by 6 a.m. Every outbreak is a super outbreak, according to the WX community. Yeah, they all like whenever there's like a long term, like if there's a slight risk issue, that's just like I mean, it's not like the crazy thing is, it's not like they're reading the models wrong. Right? But like you have to know when you're looking at models 5 to 7 days out at a severe potential severe weather outbreak, that all of that is going to change multiple times as it comes. So yes, you are reading the models right. It does look scary, but when you know that it's going to change, you modulate your words a little bit, because you have to let your audience know that a lot is going to change, and that this is not going to be the way that the storm looks as it gets there. Even with the HRRR this close, I still have to say the same thing, because the HRRR, whenever we are in the 48 hour range, it usually is wrong by quite a bit. And it changes quite a bit from now until tomorrow, the next time you guys see me, at least live. So, is how significant? That's the question easily. It's like, is it very significant brain effects, or is it just like, a drop in the bucket? And that's the bad thing about the brain. It's like you have to study other people's brains in comparison, and if everybody's brain is getting affected by phones at the same time by varying degrees. Yeah. Yeah, it's a large storm. It's definitely a large storm. That blizzard conditions on the backside are going to be pretty intense. Let's come back over here to Storm Runner Media. They just got an absolutely interesting view here of this storm. People want the adrenaline and threat of storms. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, fear mongers they're just addressing a need. I think a lot of people's lives are just kind of boring for the most part. You go to work, you come home, you go to sleep, go to work, come home, go to sleep. During the weekends, you might go out, have a little bit of fun. Once or twice a year, you might go on vacation, have the maximum amount of fun you're going to have that year. But for the most time, your lives or my life, and a lot of my friends' lives, at least, this is kind of anecdotal, are usually kind of boring. And so, so you see something online that says something crazy is about to happen, you're going to start looking into it. So it's almost like humans subconsciously look for fear. Not hyping, no money is made by clickbaiters. No, seriously. That's the thing. Someone's always hyping, right? And those are usually the people that get the most views. So those are usually, quote unquote, the most respected people in the community. So you're not going to see it go away anytime soon. People look at hype and they see the views and the interactions they get, and then they try to emulate it. All right, for Altus and Blair and Alusty, looks like this storm's about to come through again. We're expecting anywhere from 50-mile-per-hour winds to half an inch of hail to come through. Still nothing dangerous in terms of rotation on this. I know my life's pretty boring most of the time. Most of the time. But I have something wrong with my brain. I do not relate with the mass majority of the population. And I'm very thankful for it, honestly. I'm not greedy. I don't feel the need to have to have a big following if it means that I have to lie for it. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. I don't feel like I have to sugarcoat anything. I don't feel like I got to wear a costume when I go live, and I don't have to put on a suit. I don't have to put on some fake personality, to go live. I'm just me. And apparently that's pretty rare. Because a lot of people don't really do that anymore, I feel like. You have a hype translator? That would be nice. I don't think it's wrong. I just feel like the world is leaving that kind of thing behind. It does not reward that. That's for sure. It rewards the people that shout the loudest now. And I feel like that's dangerous. And I think that has to do a lot with the phone as well. When you're exposed to everything, everything seems boring. So you need, that extra layer of excitement and hype and anger or fear in order to kind of rise above the noise. Gonna make money. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's one thing you could say about the hypers in comparison to me. They have way more money than me. They have all the good storm chasers. We got our friends, and that's all we need. Man, that's still looking crazy. I mean, it's not like I'm honestly, it doesn't look crazy. I'm just storm deprived. Oh wait, this froze. Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that. Every now and then, YouTube gives me a problem. Be a hype man on April Fool's Day. I can't even do it as a joke. Because you got to understand, like, April Fool's, like, that's like in April. Did this freeze again? No, it's still going. The storm is moving so slow, it keeps looking like the video froze. And there's like not a whole lot of wind. And thank you, Grifter, for the 14. Thank you so much. AI is getting a bit too realistic. Yeah, AI is crazy nowadays. I mean, we've already talked about AI so many times on this, but like, everybody's viewing it as like this good thing. But it's not. I mean, it is, but it's not. It's like the weirdest thing. Like, it has so much potential, but at the same time, it's gonna throw us into this era of humanity that's just with a lack of purpose. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm a thinker, you know? You guys know me. I like to think a lot. And thank you, Gina, for the 5 gifted memberships as well. Thank you so much. But yeah, you guys know I'm a thinker, but there's a lot of times where when I'm thinking about something that I kind of lose motivation to think about it because, you know, it's a difficult problem and I'm afraid AI is just going to figure out the problem before I even get close. It's like, well, we're getting close to that period. Like a lot of the things that I think about, some or not a lot of the things, but some of the things I think about are things that you probably would need to think about for like a decade to figure out. And by that time, AI is going to be like super smart. Kind of ruins the fun. That's what it really is. It ruins the human part of humanity. You know, it can create pretty well now. It can think pretty well. Like, what are we going to be like after that? Just sitting around thinking about nothing, relying on AI and robots for everything. Like that just seems like an absolutely pointless existence. I don't know. It's going to do a lot of good, don't get me wrong, but we're trading in the entirety of our humanity for that, which I find interesting. It's an interesting trade. There's a thunderstorm near you in Merced County. Let me see where that is. Where is that? Merced County. Well, that's in Cali. Yeah. Oh, wow. I didn't even know this. We got a severe thunderstorm warning over here in California. Quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. This is technically the beginning of that storm that's going to be coming through on Tuesday, heading down towards Fresno. Do I have cams over there? Might. May happen to have some cameras near that storm. Where's Fresno? There's Fresno, north of Fresno. Coachella, south of Coachella, north of Madeira. I saw that. I almost freaked out, but it's just a smokestack. I was like, is that a tornado? But no, it's just a smokestack. But yeah, we're in a severe thunderstorm warning here in California. Who would have thunk it? I don't even think you guys have a severe weather risk over there. But all right, folks, I think I'm going to log off for tonight. If you're over here near Madeira, be indoors and away from windows. That's going to be tracking down towards you. You just kind of saw what it's like in that storm. Everyone won't change too much. I don't think our tornado risk is overly elevated out here, so I'm not expecting tornadoes, but definitely some hail and some gustier winds in there. And yeah, well, I'll be back tomorrow morning with an update, and I'm gonna put some serious thought into tomorrow night and whether or not I go live then. I'm not exactly sure if I'm gonna do that. Like, I feel like that's a decent plan, but I'm still not exactly sure. Just because my sleep schedule has been so spot on, going to bed at 10 p.m., waking up at 5:45 a.m. So we'll see. We'll see. If I'm going to break that schedule, it's going to be for something dangerous. So it'll probably have to do with how it looks. If it looks like it's going to be, an elevated threat, I might risk it for the biscuit. So we'll see. Oh, wow. Okay, one last look at Storm Runner Media's Storm. They have 1,000 viewers, so let's go raid Pagey Tornado. We're going to go raid Pagey real quick. Pagey, there she is. All right, guys, we're gonna raid Tornado Pagey. Tell her hello. Please give her a like and a subscribe, as she's been giving us some really good Storm views today. Same with Storm Runner Media, but seems like Storm Runner Media's stream's going pretty well. So we'll help out Pagey Tornado. So thank you guys for tuning in. Huge shout out to the mods. I do appreciate you guys keeping the chat an awesome place, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will see y'all tomorrow morning and tomorrow night for a live stream answering questions as well. So I'll see you guys then. Peace.